Good evening, good afternoon, everybody, or good morning, wherever you are in the world. I am Bridget Tennyson, and I will be presenting to you tonight this wonderful technology that we're all involved with. And I'm sure you're going to learn a lot. I am based in Johannesburg in South Africa, and I've been with LifeWave since February 2023. My background is I come from the medical laboratory world, where I did all those blood tests that doctor sends you for. I also went from there into the homeopathic industry and from there into the optometric industry. And currently I work in digital x-rays for your dogs, cats, horses, etc., all those animals. And in the other times when I've got my free time, I love talking to people about LifeWave. So let me share my screen and then we can share some of this interesting technology. So the question we always ask, have you been patched yet? Why do we want to put this little patch on your body? As you can see, this lady over here has this little round patch on her arm. And when we put this patch on your body, we're going to elevate something called copper peptide. We're then going to activate your stem cells and make new ones. And we're going to start a regeneration process. Now, LifeWave is a company, and this is our flagship product called X39. It is stem cell reactivation technology in a patch. And yes, it is a way ahead of its time. Nobody has what we have. So what are stem cells? Well, in the New England Journal of Medicine, it was stated the number one indicator of how well you are is directly correlated to the number of adult stem cells you have in your bloodstream. Now, a stem cell can become any kind of cell that your body needs. They have the ability to heal and to repair any organ or tissue. So, for example, a mother that is pregnant with that baby in the uterus, that is a flood of stem cells forming the liver, the heart, the brain, the lungs, the kidneys, the bones. I hope you get the picture of what a stem cell can do. I'm going to play this little video clip and then we'll chat a bit more.
We all hope to age gracefully so we can enjoy our later years full of energy, vitality, and good health. But so often, with age, our bodies start to show signs that things just aren't as they used to be. Our energy, skin, healing and recovery time, sleep, it all just seems to go downhill. Unless you're using LifeWave. David Schmidt, our founder, creative force, and world-class inventor behind LifeWave technology, has recently achieved something in the field of regenerative science with a single LifeWave patch that researchers worldwide, spending years and billions of dollars, could not. Introducing LifeWave X39. The world's first product ever to activate stem cells. A true breakthrough in regenerative science that helps restore our bodies to a healthier, more youthful state in a way no other product can. The secret? By harnessing the power of LifeWave's patented phototherapy, X39 uses light to elevate a peptide proven to signal the activation of stem cells. Think about it. These are the cells that generate and regenerate all the cells and structures of the human body. They're the building blocks for our organs, tissues, blood, and immune system. They also serve as an internal repair system everywhere. But as we age, stem cells become less effective. Their ability to repair damaged tissue is reduced. In fact, by age 60, they've slowed dramatically. But all that changes when just one LifeWave X39 patch is placed anywhere on the body each day. Instead of older and less effective stem cells, X39 supports the production of younger and healthier stem cells. This amazing level of control over your vitality and well-being was simply not possible, let alone this easy, until now. And the best part? Like all LifeWave patches, X39 is safe, non-invasive, and incredibly cost-effective. Look what people are saying about LifeWave X39. Backed by clinical studies, multiple patents, and 20 years of development, any one of these benefits would be impressive. But X39 is so effective, it can influence everything about your body. How you look, feel, perform, and heal. It's time you experience the power of X39.
So the company LifeWave, founded in 2004, we're not the new kid on the block. We had our 20th birthday last year in October, and we opened in 87 countries around the world. We are certainly involved in a lot of innovative products, and X39 was launched in 2019. And this turnover the following year, $20 million in 2021, look what happened 1 year later, 320 million. There was a huge uptake around the world for this product. We must be doing something right. 430 million in 2023. Last year, over 620 million. And we are projected and on target to be $1 billion company this year. As I say, not bad, from nearly zero to hero. With a growth rate of 3,000% in the last 5 years. Not many companies grow by that amount. And we have won these awards in 2024 and 2025, the Global Bravo Award. Now, who is the brains behind this? Well, Dr. David Schmidt. He's our scientist, he's our inventor, he's also the CEO of the company, and he holds over 200 patents to his name. And he comes from a family, actually, of scientists and inventors, and he's also the two-time recipient of this award from the International Hall of Fame. He also has an honorary doctorate in science and technology, and he specializes in age reversing. There is a big difference between anti-aging and age reversing. And in 2008, David focused all his attention on stem cell research, and this patent, X39, took over 10 years to get to market at a cost of over $4.5 million. Now, why would you want a patent? Well, first of all, it's something you need to apply for. The patent will then be granted, provided your product does what you say it does. So in this patent, it says here, as a result of elevating copper peptide, which we mentioned earlier, everybody has copper peptide in their body. We start to see the activation of the stem cells in your body, and we also see improvements in your energy levels. We see the elevation of antioxidants, reduction in inflammation, the management of pain, improvement in your stamina, the elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing, plus many other good things. So why would you want to use X39 stem cell activation patches? Well, these are some facts I certainly did not know before I joined LifeWave. The fewer stem cells you have, the faster you're going to age, and the slower your body will take to heal from any trauma. Now, a teenager has about 1 billion active stem cells. They think they're invincible. I remember my friend's son, when he broke his leg many years ago, they put that plaster cast on, told him to come back after 4 or 5 weeks. 2 weeks later, he cut it off and said, "Dad, I'm healed. I do not need to wear this cast." And he was probably right. By the age of 30, I've got sad news. 60% reduction in your stem cells. And by the time you get to my age, unfortunately, I'm 67 in a few months, 90% reduction. I have very few stem cells left to do all that repair and regeneration of my body. So how does X39 work? Well, we say it's the holy grail of anti-aging. Many studies have been written since the 1960s about copper peptide and what copper peptide does. And in this little patch, there are organic nanocrystals. Nano meaning, of course, you cannot see it with the naked eye. And it is made of pure natural material, amino acids, salts, sugars, and waters. So there's no drugs, there's no chemicals, no stimulants going into your bloodstream. It's not like a nicotine patch when somebody says, "I want to stop smoking," and they put a nicotine patch on. The nicotine is still going into their bloodstream. It is non-invasive, and certainly we are increasing our stem cells each time we put one of these patches on. So what are the benefits? Well, the first thing we start to see also is rapid pain relief. And many people around the world today are suffering with pain. My cousin's fiance, for example, he said, "Bridge, I'm living on anti-inflammatories for 3 years, every day of my life. I take painkillers every day of my life." And I said, "Mark, you need these patches. You need to just try it. We don't know what's going to happen." Patches were sent. He put one on his knee, and he phoned me 5 minutes later, and he said, "Bridge, that pain on that knee has gone." I said, "Mark, you're one of our miracle people. We see results in minutes, seconds, hours, days, weeks, or months. Everybody's body is different." The next point is reduction in inflammation. Every person on this planet is suffering with inflammation due to stress, lifestyle, diet, the air you breathe, the water you drink, the food you eat. All of that is contributing to inflammation. But inflammation, when it goes out of control, what happens? We start to see pain. And when pain becomes too bad, we go to the doctor. And then doctor says he'll do some tests. And when he's done with some tests, he says, you have got such and such a disease. So the root cause of all disease is actually inflammation. So you need to keep your inflammation under control. The next one is supporting wound healing. And I'm going to show you some pictures on that. Increasing energy and vitality. I can go 18 hours a day, no problem. Lots of energy and vitality. Mental clarity and focus. No more brain fog here. My cousin's fiance, no, another cousin, not the fiance, another cousin in New Zealand, she said to me the one day, Bridge, I walked down the passage with the milk bottle into the bathroom. And I said, but that's a very strange place to take your milk bottle. She said, yes, brain fog. I said, you need some mental focus and clarity. And we both laughed. We enhance sport performance, and that's why we've got many professional athletes using our technology. There's faster recovery from exercise, which is, of course, very important for professional athletes as well. And we see improved skin appearance. Now, some of the studies that were done here, this is some of the results. In the first few days, 4,000 of your genes begin to reset to a younger, healthier state. And within 6 weeks, your brain becomes balanced. So this is where we start to see people that suffer from post-trauma stress disorders, anxiety, depression, Alzheimer's, dementia. Things start to move in the right direction again for them. And within 3 months, your collagen production is increased. Now, remember, collagen is not just what taking away the wrinkles and crinkles on one's face. It is also required by all your internal organs, all your muscles, all your joints. And within 6 months, this is a biggie, your heart reverses in age. And Dr. David did a study where 14 out of 15 people reversed their vascular age by an average of 8 years just by using the patches for 6 months. And that is why he says it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. And he should know he's 62 years of age. When they test him biologically, how well are all his organs and systems functioning? His body is functioning like that of a 35-year-old person. Now, how are you going to wear this? Well, the picture's on the right where you can see just below the belly button, in fact, 2 fingers, or behind the neck on what's called C7, that bony bit when you put your head forward. Those are where clinical trials were done. The but here is that you can put this patch anywhere on the body. So if there's a pain point, like somebody says, I've got a sore knee, we will put the patch right on the knee. If they say, I have got a sore shoulder, I'll put it straight on the shoulder. Then we're going to wear it for 12 hours. And yes, preferably during the day. And then you will take it off for 12 hours to allow the body to repair and rejuvenate. During this time, you drink plenty of good quality water. And I'm actually a cancer survivor. I had endometrial cervical cancer. I did natural healing. And I was told by my integrative medical doctor to drink 30 mils of water for every kilogram of body weight. So I weigh just over 50 kilograms. So I drink at least 1.5 liters of water a day, and preferably with what's called electrolytes. The next day, you're going to put a new patch on, and you're going to repeat this 12 hours on or 12 hours off. But you can also wear it a bit longer because it's about 16 to 24 hours. So you could even use a second-hand patch the following day. 90 days, Dr. Davis says, please try 90 days first to start balancing everything in the body, for setting the platform for all that regeneration, repairing, and healing. And then we add 1 month for every decade you've been on this planet. So if you're 60 years of age, you add another 6 months to your 90 days. So in other words, 9 months. And like I said, we're going to see results in different people in days, weeks, hours, minutes, even seconds. You need to take note of the fact that we are all unique and we are all different. I could have 6 diabetics here today and they all want to start the program. It does not mean to say in 90 days they're all going to get the same result. And please note as well, detox can occur in people, especially if you're on a lot of stuff like chronic medication. So you need to be aware of a detox protocol. Now, Dr. David says X39 is his greatest achievement. Having a product that works this quickly and provides this many benefits seems like a miracle or too good to be true. But it is simply applying the magic of stem cells to the human body. Now, have a look at these pictures. topography, or what's called thermal imaging. This is a 77-year-old woman, and we placed the X39 on the back of her neck. In the first session, there was no patch placed. The photograph of her brain was taken, and you can see all this red that is showing us huge inflammation in her brain. She also had very little stem cell activity, and she had a lack of brain coherence. 3 weeks later, after patching every day, you can see there's virtually no more inflammation here, and she had improved her brain coherence. And 6 weeks later, there was a complete turnaround. She had improved her brain coherence, and she had improved her stem cell production. What a wonderful result. Now, this is a heart. Day 1, you can see all that red inflammation in this heart. And after 2 months, we are moving in the right direction. There is reduction in inflammation in this heart. And we continue patching. And look, after 5 months, there's virtually no inflammation in this heart. Inflammation reduction in 30 minutes. This person's shoulders, torso, and the front of the body here. You can see the reduction clearly. The red has become far less in the pictures at the bottom. An interesting case here, this lady with her arthritic joints. She didn't even put the patches on her body. She held them in her hands. And 30 minutes later, you can see visibly there's a reduction in that red. Now, we say animals don't lie. This is a very old horse. He's 14 years of age. You can see the coat is really looking dreadful. I call it the shaggy horse. And after using the patches for 4 months, you can see collagen production has increased. Look at the texture of the skin and the coat. The internal organs, lots of red before patching, and certainly a huge reduction after 4 months. Now, this is our famous little dog, Poplup. Woke up one morning paralyzed, and her owner got hold of my friend Sandy and said, Sandy, please come and help. Poplup has a problem. The vet says 20,000 Rand to maybe do an operation of some sorts. So Sandy went to see her, and they decided to do some energy work on her, and then they also patched Poplup. After 4 days, if you get this video from somebody, you can see this little dog running around. Increasing in collagen production. Dr. Stacey Holberger is part of LifeWave, and you can see after 3 years of patching, she visibly looks younger. What I noticed in all these people is not just the wrinkles and crinkles going away and being reduced, is there is a vitality in the eyes. There's a sparkle that wasn't there before. So if we have a look at this lady, can you see as well, wrinkles and crinkles reduced for sure. But look at the eyes. There's something in the eyes. Over here, here's another lady. 1 year later, she doesn't even look like the same person. She could be her own daughter. Again, the eyes. Something changes in the eyes. Vitiligo, a skin condition. Unfortunately, there is nothing medically that can be done for this. They get told normally to please just cover it with some makeup or foundation. And these two gentlemen have a wonderful result. The man at the top, after 1 year, he has reversed it totally. His skin looks fabulous. Sorry, I'm apologizing for that. I don't know who's come in there because I muted everybody. I don't know why they're able to talk.
It's label.
Please mute themselves. Vitiligo here on the left, this little old man, you can see after 3 months, we're moving in the right direction. He's certainly having a result, but he cannot give up after 3 months. He has to keep on patching. Now, this lady with her Bell's palsy, the muscle spasm in the face, couldn't close her eye even properly. And after 3 months, again, what a wonderful result. Skin conditions, psoriasis, your eczemas, your dermatitises, that angry, red, itchy looking skin. And before X39 and after 10 days, we're moving in the right direction here too. Wonderful result. A finger that was cut. And day 2 versus day 8, day 13, day 20, wonderful result. This lady is not young, and of course, the older we are, the longer it takes to heal. And normally, in some cases, you would never see a result like this in 21 days on an older person. It takes sometimes months for them to heal from any wound or trauma. And you can see she has just a little scab left here after 21 days. Now, this old man, 3 patches on his face. Also, you can see quite a bit of huge trauma here. But again, the quality of the skin. Besides the healing that was fabulous in 7 weeks, something changed in the skin because of all that collagen production. He doesn't look like that old man in the first picture. A burn wound, day 3, day 5, day 7, and 2 weeks later. Fabulous. Now, this is a circulation problem. This gentleman is losing circulation in his foot, and we put the patch right on the foot, not behind the neck or below the belly button. And you can see after 5 days, return of circulation is happening in this foot. He could be suffering, for example, with a heart condition, and he could have also a problem in terms of a diabetic condition. Now, live blood analysis, this is interesting. I've had it done to myself, being a person that works in the lab. The picture on the left, you see that somebody had a sample taken before putting a patch on the body. This is thick, sticky, clumping, red cells, lack of energy and vitality. 10 minutes later, putting the patch on the body, asking the person to take another blood sample, you can clearly see something happened at a blood level. Something changes. There's energy. There's vitality in those cells again. Wonderful. That was enough for me to say, even if I don't feel anything happening, something is happening in my bloodstream. Water retention or edema. The lady on the left here, you can see all these heavy, thick, swollen feet and ankles. Probably definitely couldn't wear shoes. Was told to put her legs up every day for maybe half an hour. And 3 weeks later, her feet virtually look normal. Hair growth. Ladies, it happens with us as well. It's not just men. These happen to be men covering up their bald spots after 7 weeks for this gentleman. And over here, this lady was losing her hair by the handful. And you could see by the 13th of March, 3 months later, it was only a few strands. Now, this group, Testimonies, is a South African group on Telegram. And we've got thousands of testimonials. And you can take a note of this, or you can ask the person that invited you to the call to please send you the link. I'll touch on a few of the categories: pain, cancer, Crohn's disease, blood pressure. Let me tell you an interesting one there. Today, many people suffer with blood pressure issues, but this is a friend of mine. She works in the hotel industry 18 hours a day without a day off for 2 weeks. She says, Bridge, I am mentally exhausted. I am not a nice person to be around. I scream and shout at my staff. I'm irritable. I said, I suppose I would be too if I had to work those hours. Anyway, so patches were sent down to her. And 2 weeks later, when we were chatting, I said, Sonia, how are things going? She said, oh, my staff came to me and said, there's something wrong with you. And I said, well, what do you mean? They said, no, you're no longer screaming, shouting at us. You're so calm. You must be on drugs. And that's when she laughed and she said, no. I'm just using these patches because these patches work on a physical level, a mental level, emotional level, and even a spiritual and financial level, we say. Same lady, 2 weeks later after that, we're chatting. She said, I had to go to the doctor. And I said, and what did doctor say? What's going on, Sonia? She said, no, I was dizzy. And doctor said, my blood pressure medication is too strong. We need to cut the dose by half. And that is what we start to see. People on chronic medication, under guidance of their doctor, they should be going back every 3 or 6 months anyway when they're on chronic medication to the doctor. Under doctor's guidance, he will then tell them that they can reduce whatever the amount is of whatever they're taking. I cannot tell anybody to reduce or even stop their medication. Some more testimonies here. Let's look at tinnitus, that ringing in the ears, migraine sufferers, gout, asthmas, epilepsies, fibromyalgia, multiple sclerosis, diabetes. Okay, big one here, all those rheumatoid and osteoarthritis, which is me. I have got arthritic problems in my joints. I've had a double hip replacement, but I feel as good as new. Parkinson's, neuropathy, autism, Alzheimer's, hot flushes, strokes, gallstones. This list is endless. Athletes, I mentioned that earlier. Michael Phelps, the US swimming team. In 2004, our very first patch, Energy Enhancer. The US swimming team at the Olympics that year won all the gold medals. They thought they were on drugs. They took the medals away. They went and tested the patches in a lab. To be told there is nothing going into the body, there are no drugs. So they returned all their medals. Serena Williams, we know her, the tennis player, also wearing Energy Enhancer. David Beckham, the football player, also wearing Energy Enhancer. It's actually a 2-patch system. That's why you see him with 2 patches. And Lorenzo Savadori, superbike rider, 300 kilometers an hour down the track. He says, I need this X39 for mental focus and clarity. So look where he puts it, right in the middle of his forehead, not behind the neck or below the belly button. So this is another website with lots of information about the patches, the patents on all the technology, testimonies and doctors' reviews, Dr. David talking. The little flag on the bottom, if you click on it, you can bring up all the flags of the world. So if you want to look at it in German, then you click the German flag, it will translate into German. LifeWave X39 Foundation Patch, our wonderful patch, the flagship product. We've spoken about that. The next one is Aeon. We were speaking about inflammation, keeping it under control, reducing your stress. This also will work on your adrenal fatigue. Let us quickly touch on all the other patches. So X49, this is for your heart, muscle, and bone. IceWave is the one for pain and reducing that pain fast for you without using drugs. Glutathione, this is to detox the body. It boosts your immune system, and it's also a powerful antioxidant and eliminates heavy metals. Carnosine works on brain. It also increases your focus and alertness, and it improves thyroid function. The next one, Silent Nights. This is the sleep patch. It increases melatonin production, and it helps you have a deeper sleep. The Energy Enhancer, of course, the athletes love this as well. They wear it, as you saw on the other pictures, because they would like to increase their vital energy. It also burns fat for energy. So it helps those that also want to burn fat. Like if you're a bit overweight, you need to burn fat. And SP6 works on your hormonal system. It also helps to appetite or regulate your appetite, and it improves your liver function. And the last one, Alavida. This is for, of course, those skin things like your wrinkles and crinkles. So you might be saying, well, what is this all going to cost? Well, a bit of perspective here. Stem cell injections can cost $10,000 or more, and there's also a 50% or even 70% chance it won't even work. I had a friend that actually phoned me up after I'd spoken to her last year in November, and she said, Bridge, I can't speak to you about these things now. I'm very busy at work. We'll touch base in the new year. So she actually phoned me in March this year. And she said, Bridge, I need help. I said, what's happening? She said, I cannot get out of bed. I have got a back problem and they want to do an operation. But I was told I can do stem cell injections. I said, well, that probably is an option if they suggested it. I said, but you do realize it's going to cost you $10,000 or more. She said, what? You're going to be kidding. I said, no. Then she said, but you told me about your stem cell patch things. I said, yes. I said, I suggest you try them. So she started patching. Lying flat on her back in bed. 2 months later, she phoned me and says, Bridge, guess what? I'm driving my car again and I'm back at work and I haven't had that operation. I said, fabulous. Keep on patching. So let's have a look. Product prices. That little envelope that the patches all come in has got 30 patches, and you always need to add your country tax to that and a delivery charge. So the first option is a retail price, $149.95 for the X39 or the X49, or all the other patches that I've mentioned for $79.95. And I said, well, when I was shown this, well, why would I want to buy retail if I can get online, order my own stuff, give them my name and address, and they'll send it to my house and I pay with my credit or debit card? I can do that. So wholesale price it is, $99.95. And all the other patches, you can see there's a range there from $49.95 to $69, because the more sleeves you buy, the cheaper it will become. So these are some of the kits when we join and get our own account. You can get 3 sleeves of X39 for $295. You can get the advanced kit for $535. And that was where a friend of mine and her husband said, no, we both want 3 sleeves each. So they opted for that, which meant she actually saved already $65 there. And when you buy any of these kits, they waiver that $25, which is an annual membership fee. So in fact, she saved more than $65. She saved $90. It's a very big kit where you get 20 sleeves of the X39. There you can find people like doctors, chiropractors, alternative practitioners, or you've had somebody that says, oh, I've got a huge family and I want to buy for my granny, my auntie, and my uncle and myself as such, and they opt maybe for the big kit as well. You can also mix and match. So all those products I mentioned earlier, you could mix and match them and make up a basket of products. The difference also is that you can upgrade. These are once-off that you can purchase these. So you can upgrade from core to advanced, for example, and they say now we just pay the difference between the two, which is $240, and you get the difference in sleeves, which is also 3 sleeves or that mix and match. So that's an idea. So Dr. David says healing isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, and even a spiritual experience, and also light and energy can help to create balance in all these areas. So what is going to be next for you? Well, that is entirely your choice, of course. You can become a retail customer. You can become what we call a preferred customer and get it at wholesale price. Or if you would like to be somebody like me, I said, well, I feel it is my social responsibility to tell anybody that I know about this technology. There's too much suffering in the world. And by doing so and talking to people like I'm talking to you tonight, friends that join and buy their own product, I will earn a commission. And after the first month of joining this company, I think by the end of the second month, I've never had to pay for any of my product ever again, because I earn commission just by talking to people. What a wonderful way to make money. Just talk to people. So I'm going to wish you a wonderful evening. I'm going to suggest that you get back to the person that invited you to the call tonight and discuss what you saw, and they will chat to you and put you or point you in the right direction. So thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. See you again some other time. Bye for now.